Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining the call. Would you introduce yourself, please? How long have you been working in the industry? How involved have you been with the CDISC prior to being the president and CEO?
Thanks, Jamie, for having me. And it's great to see you again. And I'll try this. I'm very bad at it, but Ayo kaseo to everyone out there. So how long have I been working in the industry? Well, you gave me a bit of a trick question. That if I give you the answer, then I'm telling you how old I am. I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to tell you that I've been in the industry a long time, and my career has been my entire career has been in clinical research. So I started as a statistician and a programmer working in the pharmaceutical industry in the early 90s. And very early in my career, I really saw how standards and technology could improve the work we do. I identified inefficiencies a lot during my first few years in industry, and I always wanted to strive towards how we can make things better. Because at the end of the day, we're trying to get products approved to help patients. And I always kept that in the back of my mind as I move forward. So you also asked how long I've started working with CDISC. So I began as a volunteer with CDISC in 2004. I was co-leading a pilot project. I had been asked to co-lead this pilot project, and that was back before SDTM and ADAM standards were even thought about as being required and mandated by regulatory agencies. And so they were still running pilots. So I was able to help run a pilot successfully to show that SDTM and ADAM could be submitted for regulatory authority. So it was my first learning about the standards. And I immediately saw how speaking the same language was very important to what we were doing with the data. And then I moved on and I became a team member of ADAM, the ADAM team. When I was on the ADAM team, I did training and I was actually part of the first team or the first group that created conformance rules. So probably a trick question for most, but the first group that had conformance rules within CDISC was the ADAM team. That's my shout out, my plug for the ADAM team. They were the first ones to do that. But I was involved in that. And then about 5 or 6 years ago, I was asked or submitted my name for the board of directors. So I joined the board of directors, which gave me a different perspective, a different view on not just the standards, but the organization and what they were trying to achieve. So that sort of led me to this. And last year, Dave Evans, who was serving very admirably as the CEO, said he wanted to retire. He had done a long career in the industry and wanted to retire. And he spoke with me and asked me if I'd be interested in taking over for him, taking the baton from him. And after a lot of thinking about it and talking to my better half, my wife, we both thought it was a great opportunity for me to move into a new role where I can help influence more broadly and push the industry forward in a more, hopefully in a more transformative way. So I've been that was a long answer, but I've been here my entire career has been in this space of clinical research. And so I'm really excited about taking really CDISC to that next step. How can we go to that next step of standards?
That's wonderful. You visited Seoul in June to welcome the new K3C chair and heard it was your first time to Korea. Literally, how was it? How was your impression?
Well, I had a great organizer who I'm speaking with right now, who made sure everything was perfect for me. So thank you for that, Jamie. It was my first trip to South Korea, and I had a wonderful time. It was a short trip, but I had a wonderful time. Besides the beautiful views of the mountains from my hotel, so I'm very much into hiking and mountains. So to learn that South Korea was, I think the number 70% mountains was really neat, and it was really pretty to see the views from my hotel. Also, the great food. You guys took me to a lot of really good food. And everyone being just really friendly and kind and open to the things I was sharing. It was just really exciting. But what was most exciting for me was all the positive energy I saw about CDISC from the groups that I met with. So I met with groups, on 2 different days, and it was just a lot of excitement, a lot of energy I was impressed, really impressed by Dr. Shin's commitment and her contributions to CDISC over many, many years. She has carried the torch, as we would say, for CDISC standards, and I commend and thank her for that. And then Dr. Park's willingness to step up and have the energy to step into this role, this new role. He seems excited. He has ideas. And really overall, I just see a growing community in Korea who's excited about how the CDISC standards could help clinical research in Korea. So overall, it was a great trip. I'm looking forward to an opportunity to come back and spend more time and eat more good food and maybe go on a hike if I have some time. But it was a great trip and great group to meet with.
Was so glad to hear that you had that kind of impression, and looking forward to having you here in Seoul again. All right, so as the president and CEO of CDISC, can you share the roadmap with us?
Well, we said we wanted to keep this interview kind of short, so I won't. I can't give. That's a really. I could give you a really long answer to that. In fact, earlier this year in May, we gave a webinar that's been recorded, and you can go listen to that, which talks about our strategy, our vision, our strategy, and our roadmap. So if you want the long answer about the strategy and roadmap, you can go listen to that. But I do want to share really quickly. We did sit down as a leadership team at CDISC after listening to a lot of our members in our community over the first few months, which is what I spent. I spent the first few months just listening. And we developed a strategy, a vision, and a roadmap. And our vision is to amplify data's impact for clinical research or advance research. And how do we do that? Well, we create connected standards across the information lifecycle. So around that, we basically broke our roadmap down into 3 areas, and I'll go through these really quickly. First, we want to be able to expand and connect. So as we think about CDISC standards, traditionally, they've been about the data. Well, the reality is, as we move into other areas, trial master file, digital protocol, our information is more expansive. So we have to be able to expand our standards. In addition, we have to do a better job of linking our standards together. We've done a great job of developing a lot of content, but we need to link it together and connect it in a better way with context so that we can truly realize automation. So that's a key area. As we're doing that, we have to reduce variability in our standards, and we have to, our second pillar is about reducing variability and increasing our interoperability between our standards to make sure they connect together, to make sure they really realize automation, which we really haven't done as well, as we had hoped, but our goal is to move in that direction. And our third one is really about the community. It's about you, those in the community that support the standards. We want to build a robust feedback mechanism and a feedback loop to get feedback from you, to engage our community, to work with groups like the K3C and the other members and the user groups to really understand the needs and the value that CDISC and the standards are providing, so that we can do a better job at that. So we're going to establish some different mechanisms or ways of interacting with our community and getting that feedback and sharing feedback with you in the community. So those are the 3 main pillars, and there's a lot of details behind those that you can see in that webinar if you watch it. And get more details about those 3 pillars. So that's a short version of the roadmap, Jamie.
Okay, thank you so much. CDISC has a global interchanges in the world, in Europe, US, and Asia, and is planning to have a 2024 Korea Interchange in Seoul in November. Why do you think organizations and companies in this industry in Korea should join, and how they can participate?
Yeah, I mean, if we step away from interchanges and meetings, as everyone knows, the best way for people to enable change, right, to transform, to innovate, is to get together and collaborate, right? To get together in a room and talk about what's possible. The phrase, the art of the possible, is about envisioning what you could do if you didn't worry about constraints, if you didn't worry about rules. And so the idea of getting together and collaborating is just so important for our industry. And I think in the past, being a very risk-adverse industry, being a very regulated industry, we've been reluctant to get together and really kind of open up about what we're doing and work together. That's changed, I would say, over the last decade. And we've been able to show that we can meet and really collaborate and transform things that we're doing. This is why we go to events. So I'll bring it back to the events. We go to events to learn what others are doing, to share what we're doing with others, and to collaborate together so that we can actually move innovation forward. CDISC hosts our annual interchanges, and we do this in 6, maybe 7 locations around the world. And we do this for the purpose of bringing together a very diverse group of individuals, from pharmaceutical companies to academia to technology and other groups, so we can share, we can learn about how we can leverage the standards to really drive automation and help with designing and conducting better trials. Because our goal with standards are to make the data better, to amplify data's impact, as I said before, so that we can help patients. Really, we always got to remember that. And so the events, the interchanges, give us an opportunity to do that, to come together. Now, last year, we had the first Korean CDISC interchange, and it was very successful. Probably, and I hope the other regions don't get mad at me, but probably the most successful inaugural CDISC event we've had. And what I mean by that is the first of a region, right? So this is the first event in Korea, and it was very successful. And I would highly encourage those involved in any part of the research area. So whether you're working in study design, whether you're working in data management, statistics, any part of that process where you're working with the information and the study and the data, I'd suggest you attend the event and learn what people are doing. You can share your experience as a speaker. You can attend and learn from others. And we even offer an opportunity to sponsor or exhibit the event. And as part of that, to really help support CDISC mission, CDISC work. So, you come to the event, you pay to go to the event, but some of that goes back into us and the organization in working on the things that we're trying to advance with standards. So really hope you'll join us in November in Seoul. I've told the K3C I want to see record numbers of people and a great time, and so I look forward to seeing everyone in Seoul, and I hope you can make it there in November.
Right. It's been a great conversation, Chris, and thank you so much for your time and being here.